We're live. Hello guys, how's everybody doing? Welcome to the channel. John with you. That's me. Hope you're all well. Hope you've had a good week. I've definitely had a good week. I've been quite busy wise and quite busy modeling wise as well. I'm working on 2 projects. We'll find more about them in due course as we go along. I'm just waiting kind of for people to join me live. Sort of feels like I'm talking to myself at the moment, but then again, this is going to come out during the week. I think it comes out tomorrow or something, or even later on this evening. It'll come out as a separate video. So, I know. In this live stream, I'm hoping to announce my group build. I have a group build coming up. I'll be starting it pretty soon. When I say pretty soon, I'll be starting in the next month or two. We have a couple of people joining us. Hello, Brian. Good evening, Mike and Robbie. How are you all doing? And so is Ian. Ian, how are you? I was just saying that in tonight's live stream, I'm hoping to cover a few bits and pieces. The projects I'm working on at the moment, I'm working on 2 at a time. 2 at the moment. I was going to say 2 at a time. I always was, as if I always do it. I very rarely do it. But I'm working on 2 projects at this point in time. I'm doing the Stug, as we know. It's the Taglieri Stug. Not really that impressed with the build. But then again, considering what it was, wasn't bad. Wasn't a bad build. And I'm also working on it's a resin set, a resin figure set in 1/16 scale. They're German Fallschirmjägers, 2 of them with a little sort of portable 20mm anti-tank gun. And I'm doing that for a friend of mine. Basically, he sort of asked me would I do him something. I met up with him. We picked it out from got it from AliExpress, actually, from China. Took about a month to come, but we both picked it out. Well, he picked it out, and basically then it's a case of he'll pay me when everything is done, and it's literally all I'm going to charge him is what it's costing me to do. So therefore, I'm getting the enjoyment out of building a kit without it actually costing me any money. So you could call it a commission build, but then again, a commission build you're charging extra for, charging a few bob for your troubles. But I enjoy my troubles, so therefore I'm not charging for that part of it. But it's coming along nicely. I have it built. It's all sort of put together, and I've got I've got the pre-shading done on the 2 figures and on the gun itself, and I've also got the pre-shading done on the Stug. We'll start off with the Stug. Sturmgeschütz. Sturmgeschütz 4. Okay, so as you can see, it's all sort of pre-shaded. Okay. All right. And a little bit at the back as well. And I've got all the there we go, all the Scherzens. They're all pre-shaded as well. I didn't bother pre-shading with the wheels. I mean, they're going to get the base color, and then I'm going to do the rubber wheels on them, the rubber tires. So it's only a waste of paint and waste of time to go to the bother of sort of undercoating and pre-shading them. I'll go straight onto the finished color with those ones. So let's go over to the chat and we'll have a quick look and see how everything is going. Killian Collins, hello, how are you? Arthur Marinelli, hello, Arthur. Delane 78, hello, how are you? Good old Del there, back again. I'm not too bad tonight. I've been better, but then again, I've been a lot worse. So can't complain. Mr. P, how are you? Ian, hello. Commander Wolfman. Hey, Commander Wolfman's back again. Good evening, John. He only seems to come out at night, Wolfman. Or is it that you're sort of Commander Ordinary person during the day and Commander Wolfman at night? William Phillips, good evening. And he's saying howdy to everybody else. So that's it. That's how we're kind of caught up with that. Nice and good. So anyway, lads, hope you're all well. And if you remember a couple of weeks ago, I said that I was going to do a group build in the new year. And I've been thinking about it, and I've said, well, we'll do it in the Panzer IV. Initial thoughts that I do it in the Panzer IV, anything to do with Panzer IV chassis and all that kind of thing. And then I said, no, what I do is I give people a choice, and they can kind of pick out their own. I give them a couple of, say, the Tiger, Panther, Sherman, and Panzer IV. That's an idea I had in my head for a while. And you can do any variant of one of those, and we'll pick out one, and we'll go by votes, and then we'll decide on that. Then I said, no, another wasted effort. Then I said, right, what's the whole purpose of my channel? Okay, as opposed to all the other modeling channels. This is just another one of all the same. And I said, no, not really. My channel is more towards the hobbyist. We call ourselves hobbyists as opposed to, model professionals or, rivet counter type peoples that do they strive for perfection. Okay, I have nothing against these guys. Believe me, I watch all their channels, and I think they're absolutely fabulous. I keep going on about one or two of them. Mr. Night Shift, he's absolutely beautiful. Just put up a video there a couple of hours ago. His weathering techniques and things is absolutely fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. It really, really is. I don't go to those extremes, buying all the products and going through all the different techniques. Yeah, they come up with an absolutely fabulous result, really, really fabulous result. But it breaks away from, say, that difference between the hobby modeler and the professional modeler. Now, I call it professional modeler, as in you're going for that professional finish, not that they're professional modelers and getting paid for what they do, but that professional perfect finish and striving for perfection, whereas the hobby modeler does it because he enjoys it and wants to get the best effects for the least amount of work, if you know what I mean. Well, the least amount of expense, not necessarily the least amount of work. Some people might take 2 or 3 months in building a tank and getting it painted and all that kind of thing. And he's much the hobbyist as anybody else. And okay, he mightn't be the best at painting, mightn't be the best at building, might have made a few mistakes here and there, but still enjoyed it as he was building it. Do you know what I mean? And that's what I am. And so when it comes then to the group build, I decided to go for something that's a bit fun, a bit different, and something that a rivet counter can't come in and say, that's not perfect, that's not right. So what I'm doing, okay, and it will be starting on the 1st of February, okay. I will be doing a standalone video during the week, sort of announcing it. So this is sort of a pre-announcement announcement. And what it is what it's going to be is, you could call them paper panzers. In other words, anything that never went into production. Okay, so there might have been a couple of them built, but they never actually went into full production. Perfect example of that would be the Porsche Tiger. Okay, is an actual tank. I think 1 or 2 of them did actually see combat, but they were never put into production. Okay, then you've got the E100 and the Mouse and all that kind of stuff, right? And the Allies had quite a few as well. Okay, stuff that never really went into production. And I thought, along those lines, okay, we all have spare parts, haven't we? And you can either do a paper panzer, out of the box paper panzer, build it, away you go. Or you can kit bash something weird and wonderful and exciting and fun. And as long as you enjoy it, then that's the point of it. That's the whole point of it. So that's going to be the idea of the group build. Okay. I'm calling it, I was going to call it the fantasy group build, but then that kind of, you're breaking into the Warhammer type people's stuff there, Just leave them alone. Nothing against it. Again, it's all modeling. They're having fun. That's the whole point of a hobby. Have fun. So I want people here tonight to come up with different ideas of what we're going to call the group build. Okay. So there's the premise of the group build, as in, either a paper panzer or something that never went into production, because you've got sort of the mouse, which kind of would be a paper panzer because it never went into, never even built one. I think they built 2 chassis or bodies, but never actually really tested it. And then you've got the Porsche Tiger, where a couple of them were actually built and they actually did see action, but they were never put into production. Okay. And then you've got that big American yoke with double sets of tracks and the low gun and kind of thing. I think there was 4 of them built. Again, never saw action, never went into production. But there was some built. That beautiful girl, I think she's Canadian, Sophie Lynn, or Sophie Lyon. Can't pronounce her name. She's absolutely gorgeous, and she does. I think she does World of Tanks, but she does a nice series where she goes around looking at museum pieces and things like that, and she does talks with the chieftain and a few more of them, and she's doing a couple of them lately on that big American yoke. So you can go along those kind of lines, or like I said, get a chassis off a Panzer IV, stick a Tiger turret on it, or even stick a Sherman turret onto it, and add a few bits and pieces just to make it kind of more fantasy, and come up with a weird paint job. Say a modern paint job on a World War II kind of vehicle. So what would you call that group build? So I'm going to go into the chat and we'll have a look at the chat. And if you can think of any names, because there's for the group, for that group build, let me know. So where do we stop? Commander Wolfman. William Phillips, hello, good evening, howdy. Jake, hello, how are you? I am both, but you can pick, Mr. Commander Wolfman. Commander, ordinary person, and Commander Wolfman, day and night. Good evening. Delder, how would you check out Did you check out Super Hobby? I didn't get a chance really. I have it written down there and all on a piece of paper. Check out Super Hobby. I hate looking through. Like I stay away from looking at model hobbies and all the sort of places until I've got a few bob to spend. And at the moment, I don't have a few bob to spend, so therefore I kind of stay away from. But when I'm sort of when I'm going purchasing again, I will definitely check them out, most definitely. We have a massive Polish community here in Limerick. Quite a few of them, quite friendly with quite a few of them, and I know that postage from Poland to Ireland is actually quite reasonable. So it might even be more reasonable to get something from Poland, which is further away than England, than it is to get something from England. And then with England sort of splitting from Europe and Poland being still part of Europe, well, not splitting from Europe, but splitting from sort of the Eurozone, it might be easier to get stuff from there as well. So we'll give it a try. Mike Stoko, the hobbyist, that's me. Yes, we're all hobbyists. Do you like your miniature builds, John? How do you mean miniature builds? Because to me, they're all miniatures, aren't they? suppose if it's sort of under 1/35th scale, is that what you mean? Sort of miniature builds, as in 1/72nd scale, or do you mean sort of? Do I like building? Obviously, I do. So I kind of don't really know what you mean by that question, to be quite honest with you, Mr. Wolfman. Still there. If it looks like a Sherman, then it's a Sherman to me. Exactly. Yep. If it looks like a Sherman, it's a Sherman. I watched a very good, interesting clip there on the Sherman, the T-34 Sherman with the rocket launcher thing along the top of it, and the different variants that they came out with throughout the thing. And I thought it was an actual production thing. I mean, obviously it was production thing, but they were never really used. They were used in one or two little kind of places. There were ideas for using them in places, but they never really actually used them. So I suppose you could kind of put that into the group build as well. Hobbyist indeed, yes. Mr. P, totally agree, Del. It looks like a Sherman, yes. Peter Rogers, good evening. How are you? Here's Sausage Fingers back again. Hi, John. Evening from Birmingham. Oh, I insulted a friend of mine from Birmingham once. I met him. He actually lives in Limerick now, and he has a real Brummie accent. And I said to him, we were sitting in the pub one day, and I said, God, Dave, you don't really have a Birmingham accent. And he goes, what you mean, mate? Of course I do. He goes, no, I thought a Birmingham accent. Well, dearly me, would you like to bake some pepper dumps? And sorry, I didn't go down well. That did not go down well. So there was the sausage fingers. That's hopefully you're not insulted by that. Just a bit of humour. That's why I think that's what's wrong with sort of the snowflake generation. They have no sense of humour. They're offended by everything. God be with the days. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm Irish, and grew up watching British television and comedians, and they always took the piss out of the Irish and the paddy and this, that, and the other. And why get offended from it? It's a bit of humour. It's a bit of comedy. But anyway, Commander Wolfman. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Skipping very easy here. He did something last year with spare parts of a T-34 and a KV-1 tank and called it a TV-31. One of my subscribers gave me that name. Yeah, good idea. Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. Kit bashing, fun. Have a bit of fun. I don't normally. I've never actually built a paper Panzer or one that hasn't actually gone into production. Because somebody asked me there recently, have I ever built anything of that kind of nature? And that's kind of what started the old cogs whirring with this group build. And I said, yeah, it's a perfect opportunity to build a paper Panzer, or if you're into the old kit bashing thing, perfect example for that. So as it never went into production. Okay, so obviously if you kit bash something, that never went into production. It's not even a real tank. And then again, there's quite a few out there. There's looking through model hobbies and things like that, and especially I think Dragon have come out with quite a lot of them recently. Paper Panzers and things. Custom tank builders, yes. That's what we are. We're custom tank builders. Saw the beast in person when I was training at Fort Knox. I presume, Mr. Phillips, you are talking about that big, huge thing with the double sets of tracks and the thing that Miss Sophie Lean was describing. Yeah, it looks quite a monster, all right. Punzar. Yeah. Christina Nowinski. Hello, Christina. How are you? And Dirk Digler. Hi, John and fellow builders. Greetings from Belgium. Mr. Dirk is from Belgium. DM Vinyl. Hi, John. Do you like whiskey? Of course I like whiskey. Of course. Silly question. But here's the weird one. I don't like Irish whiskey. I don't like Irish whiskey. I like Scotch, and I like American whiskey. Well, when I say American whiskey, I like Jack Daniels, like the old Jack Daniels. But I don't like Irish whiskey. I find it too strong, because I'm not a drinking person. Around Christmas time, I have my couple of cans of Guinness and things like that. And I used to be a drinking person. I used to drink a little bit too much. Started to like it a little bit too much, and shall we say, it changed the person that I was. And I kind of, once I realized that it sort of changed the person that I was when I was out drinking and things like that, and I decided to kind of cut back. So now I don't say that I don't drink. It's just that I hadn't drank for a while, and when I do go out, I'll have one or two, and that's rare enough. So when it comes to whiskey, every year I get myself a bottle of Jack Daniels around Christmas time. Somebody usually buys me one, and it usually lasts me up until about, well, this year it lasted me till April, but usually lasts me till about May, June. So I do like my whiskey when it comes to sort of that kind of thing. And we've got another person from Belgium, Fab Ergo. Okay, Fab, do you know, where are we? Do you, Dirk? Dilder, what about Tankers Assemble for the GB name? Tankers Assemble, yes, I like that. Tankers Assemble instead of Avengers Assemble. Tankers Assemble, the Tankers Assemble group build. I'm finished model. If finished model looks good to me, then it's good enough for me. Yes, that's the whole point. That's where I kind of stick in that label, hobbyist. When it's done, it's done, and when I'm happy with it, then it's done. And if somebody comes back afterwards and goes, but the hatch wouldn't have been like that, I don't give a fuck. Go build your own one and criticize your own one. Don't criticize mine. I built for me, not for you. Where are we? We're up. This thing, all I do is barely touch the mouse here, and she flies up. Commander Wolfman, sorry, John, I meant things like Warhammer sword miniature sizes. I happen to have a couple of models from the company called Ufen Models. Yeah, my son is into them. My son Steve, he's into that kind of stuff. I suppose he'd be he's into the board games and things like that. I painted up a couple of zombies from there at one stage. Do you mean they're nice? I've got a few. There's one or two channels that I've watched. I can't remember the names of them now at the moment. I just they're in my subscriptions, and when I kind of go along, I save them, and I'd watch the videos of them. They're interesting. They're sort of the fantasy figures. They've got some weird type tanks and things. Yeah, you know, I don't dislike them, shall we say. I don't dislike them. All right. John Mason. Hello, John. How are you? Glad you could join me. DM Vinyl. Hi, do you like whiskey? Yeah. Well done, John. What is your favorite build? Bruce Lundberg asked me that. It's usually the last one I've done, oddly enough. I love that. I have it right here just in front of me, is the Abrams. I absolutely love that. But I suppose when I look around the room of my favorites, I really love that 1/16 Tiger that I've done. I really, really like it. It just looks an awesome kit. Wasn't exactly a super build, if you know what I mean. There was very, very little parts, especially for a 1/16 kit. But then again, when you compare the price that one was to, say, the Tamiya 1/16, it's a major, major difference. The Tamiya ones have all the little bits and pieces separate from them. But I really did enjoy that build, because I did my homemade Zimmerit on it. I hacked into it. I got the figures from China then, and I had to hack off the loader's hatch, because it came with the loader's hatch that was on it was pre-molded onto the turret. So I wanted to put a figure in there, so I had to kind of chop off the hatch and the whole lot. But the figure set that I got came with a resin hatch. So I did there was quite a lot of work involved, rather than sort of parts that were already there. So, and I look at it, it's just behind the laptop there, and it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful tank. And the tracks that were with it were absolutely lovely. So I suppose that would be my favorite build. That's the 1/16 Hobby Boss Tiger one. Okay. And it's a very, very reasonably priced kit, considering, compared to any other 1/16 kits. I think that was about 70 quid sterling. Normally 1/16 kits start well over £100, and that's, say, $120 US, 130 thereabout, same euro wise, and you'd be lucky to get one for that. You're talking 200, 300, 400 even for some of the Tamiya ones. But there you go. John Mason, tank engineers. Yes, we are. We're tank engineers. Brian Lomo, Pip My Tank. Yes, that's another good name for the group build. I'll take all these into consideration and come up with one. William Phillips. Yep, a tank with Julie's gotta love it. Why is it? The tank with Julie, talking about 2 guns or something. I don't know. Julie. Which whiskey is the best? Well, like I said, I prefer. My favorite would be Jack Daniels. I like Scotch whiskey. My favorite Scotch whiskey would be Chivas Regal. It's an absolutely lovely, lovely whiskey. I got a taste for that overseas in the Lebanon. Could pick it up. You could get a bottle of it for about $7 or $8, and it was quite nice. Can you speak Gaelga? Piece of begonin. Neil May. I won't go into it, but being ex-Irish Army, all our orders were in Irish, and I remember as a kid going to school, I used to go to the Gaeltacht every summer up to Rossmuck in County Galway. So there you go, Killian. I do have a bit, but if I have to I'd have to literally kind of get the mind into gear for it. But I do speak. I can actually speak Irish, but like I said, I'd have to kind of get into the habit of it again. You can't beat a Bushmills. Yes, we used to have a soldier in Limerick, and his nickname was Billy Bush. Bushmills. He used to like a bottle or two of it of an evening. William Phillips. Glenlivet is my go-to. Yes, that's apparently that's a quite nice Scotch as well. I've been looking at, Arthur Marinelli says, I've been looking at a stack Horch command cars and thought of building a rear box body. How about Military Mayhem? Yes, Military Mayhem would be kind of you see, but sort of military mayhem would be more kind of in the lines of if you were doing, if it was a kit bashing type thing, but because sort of the non-production paper panzers would be already in there, could you call that kind of thing military mayhem? Suppose so. Twisted Jer got me a liter of Jameson today. When you say a liter now, do you mean six or eight bottles, or a case, or a couple of cases? Yeah, Jameson. There was one, I remember when I kind of started off, maybe about 1920. I got a bottle off my uncle. Now, when I say I got it off him, he didn't know that I got it off him. I relocated it from his garage, and it was a bottle of Jameson Crested 10. Quite nice. I don't really remember it that well because I got very, very drunk, and shall we say, I was a bit worse for wear from it. Andy Dixon Jesus actually managed to make it tonight. Greetings from the Wicklow Hills. Favorite Scotch whiskey. As I said, it would be Chivas Regal. It wouldn't be quite a premium Scotch whiskey, but it's not a cheap Scotch whiskey. Up there in the Wicklow Hills, yes, I've been up around there. Kind of a quite nice countryside. The best whiskey is the one you like. Well done, John. That's it. Whichever is your favorite is the best one for you. Cartoon Fan 101, completely random question. Do you watch anime? Well, my daughter's Abby watches some of it. Kind of. Would sort of Pokemon be considered anime? I find it interesting. Some of it is a bit weird, but again, it's one of those things I don't dislike it. Okay. And before you ask, I don't watch hentai. I know what that means. But anyway, yeah, the T28 heavy tank. That's it. Yeah. I knew it was a T something. Delhan 78. This is that there may be name for a build. That there maybe. Yes. That's a good one. That's kind of a very Irish, isn't it? That there. Yorkie Bob, fiddly yorkie thing with the sticky outy bits. Thanks for us. Yes. Dylan 78. Oh, that's lovely stuff. The JC. Yeah. The Jameson Crested 10. Yeah, that would be kind of a premium Irish whiskey. It's just kind of hard to get your hands on. Your sort of ordinary off license wouldn't sell it. You have to go to kind of the slightly bigger off license. Crossover tankers. They're definitely crossover tankers. Do you remember the cigars that were soaked in port? You could get the leb. I can't remember the name. Oh, I do. Down on Mingy Street in Nakura, halfway down. Not Najib. Was it Najib? You could get them in Najib's. I was trying to remember that now. Yes, I do remember them. Yeah. I don't remember any of the Mingy men having them, but I do remember that there was that place down on on Mingy Street in Nakura. Nakura was the UN is not say was is the UN headquarters in Lebanon. It's right on the Israeli border, and Mingy Street was a name that the Irish kind of gave it, and it was all the shops that sold T-shirts and God knows what else. I remember there was a shop sort of halfway down as well on the left, a big long one. It was a longish shop. They used to do a lot of T-shirts. They sold a lot of stuff, say, to the Norwegians, and I was mad tempted to buy a T-shirt, and said it was a picture of a guy in a boat, and the harpoon and the whale there, and said, "Fuck Greenpeace, kill all the whales." I was meant to buy it, but I probably would have got into a little bit of trouble if I did. Not over there, but when I came back, it would be a case of, oh, where would you wear this thing? No, Yanko, what was your day been? Has your day been nice, sir? Yes, my day has been absolutely lovely today. It's been very, very nice. Weather-wise, crap. Absolute crap. Cold, wet. But apart from that, I had a good day. I had a bit of work this morning. I didn't have a full day, so therefore I had kind of an easy day today. Do you know Sean? Do you know the Sean South song? Of course I do. Jesus, I'm an Limerick man. It was on a dreary New Year's Eve, and the shade of light came down. A lorry load of volunteers approached the border town. There was men from Dublin and from Cork, Fermanagh and Tyrone, but the leader was a Limerick man, Sean South from Garryowen. That'd be enough for you, Killian. John Mason. John, did you ever watch The Siege at Joddetville? Yes, I have seen it. I've seen it more than once. Very, 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 very good film. And there's a friend of mine. I joined the army with him. Well, when I say I joined the army with him, he trained with me. I trained below in Cork. And this chap is from Nina. He served then with the 12th Battalion as well. Sean Foley, or Liam Foley, and his brother, his father's name was Sean Senior. And he was actually there. He was actually one of those people that was in the siege at Joddetville. Met him a number of occasions. And I met a couple more of them at various functions and God knows what else throughout my career. I met quite a few of them. The greatest respect for those guys, and what they did was absolutely outstanding. And then to come home and being sort of treated the way they were was absolutely disgraceful. Absolute disgraceful. You know, when you sort of fight down to your last bullet, and then sort of say, well, there's nothing left, and then treated as, you know, like scum because you surrendered. Bullshit. How dare they be treated like that? Anyway, we won't get into too much of that. What watch did you use in the army? What watch? G-Shock. Everybody bought them out in the Lebanon. We buy them for half nothing. G-Shock, and there you go. And when I left the army, then I bought a rather nice one. It's a Seiko titanium. Bought it with my the little bit of gratuity that I got from the army. I think it was 500 quid. I got it online, so it was cheaper. I think it was about 700 beforehand, and got it online. Anyway, we couldn't get them in the hills. $5 for 200 smokes, $1 for 3 cokes. Yeah. Basically, yeah, that was what it was. I remember paying $7 for a carton of Rothmans, 3 cokes for thing. Unless you bought them from Hafif the Thief up in A Company, then you could only get 2 for $1. But everywhere else, I was in C Company I did 3 tours with C Company and 1 with B Company, and down in Hadat and all those places, it was all 3 for $1 with the Coke. Unless you got, you know, chocolate and a Coke for $1. The Highland 78 up Cork. I'm up or after you. Anyway, up Cork. Go on, boy. Sorry, no problem. And what's your favorite food? I don't really have one. I like all food. I'm a food junkie. I'll eat anything. I try anything. I'm not fussy when it comes to food. Even when I was overseas in the Lebanon, I'd try feckin' anything. You name it, I eat it. If I don't like it, I won't try it again. Simple as that. I even ate sheep's eyeballs. First one or two were actually okay. Then they kind of left a kind of a weird after taste. I never had them again since. But yeah, I'm willing to try anything. I literally try anything. John Mason, 40 years later, we got the recognition. They got the recognition they deserved. Brave men, outstanding soldiers, great respect. Yes, but they still didn't get their commanding officer, Colin Quinlan. He recommended a couple of them for bravery medals and things like that, and they didn't get those. So when you think they did get a certain amount of recognition, as in their disgrace was taken off them officially, because they were basically officially disgraced. But the medals that they should have got, they didn't get, because there was some absolutely brave instances throughout that. The film only kind of shows some parts of what happened. The sniper guy, he should have got a fucking bravery medal for a couple of his actions, and I got that from Sean Foley, long before the film was made and all that. Heard stories about him, so some of the actions that he carried out, and Colin Quinlan himself should have been really highly decorated for the ingenuity that he came up with. Especially the one was like when they were running low on ammunition, but they had some explosives to kind of use ammo boxes and things filled with empty shells, make a kind of a landmine, and poof, that was freaking unbelievable. What about Biff Bash Bosh for the group build? Yeah, that's a good one. Biff Bash Bosh. That's a fucking mouthful in itself. John Mason, sorry to hear that, John. Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, they should have been properly recognised. They should have been properly recognised. So anyway, let's get back onto the modelling. I want to show you the resin set that I got from AliExpress. I thought it was quite nice. So I'm going to have to go and rearrange the camera just a little bit. There we go. Look, and bring it down there to that. Okay. Throw a bit of light on the subject. There we go. Now I have a bit of masking tape on these figures, because I'm just after doing the faces on that. The light might just be a little bit too much there. Whoa. It's kind of the faces are blending into the they're blending into the masking tape. Bit of Tamiya tape there, but there's one chap, he's kneeling down. I kind of get him to sort of there. Okay, I have the first sort of layer done on the faces. I use this. It's a model color sunny skin tone. I start off with that, and I kind of play around them with various versions along that. And because I sprayed the faces and I've got the bit of pre-shading done on the figures, okay, it's a technique. I can't remember the name of it. It's basically where you hold the figure, you paint the figure all dark, and then your light color, you only spray it from the top, from the top down. Get nothing on the sides and things like that. There is a name for it. I just can't remember what it's called. But it's a pre-shading technique. Okay, so there's one figure. He's the guy that's actually firing it. There's another chap there. He'll have an empty shell, or a shell in his hand, not an empty one, obviously, a live shell ready to go in. The faces on these guys is absolutely fabulous. Pity it won't pick it up there because, like I said, they're kind of just blending in, really. Kind of make it out there. Yeah. But they're beautiful figures. That whole set now, there's 2 figures and the gun. I think it was €30. But here's the gun. Okay. Very, 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 very mind-wrecking this was, because it came with loads and loads of little resin parts, all on plugs, and no instructions whatsoever on what to build, okay, and how to build it. But went back onto the sort of the where I bought it, the site itself, AliExpress, and looked at sort of my purchases, went down along the thing, and it gave a couple of nice close-ups of the finished article. So I kind of got my my bearings from that, and I got it assembled. Okay, so there's the gun. It's a little sort of 20mm anti-tank gun. Quite nice. And I'm going to sort of mount that on the board and do the whole sort of diorama type thing. We've got their helmets as well. Again, they're Fallschirmjägers. So beautiful little set. Looking forward to that. I have a couple of nice plans for that, shall we say? A couple of nice plans for that. So there we go, and we go back over to my ugly mush. There we go. Ta-da! So that's those resin pieces. Oh God, that's a bit close there, John. Yeah, back there. The only thing about resin, I find, is you have to use super glue to glue them, otherwise they won't. But once they're glued, they're really solid. And the thing is, then if you've got gaps with them, you can use. I used sprue glue, or sort of the mixture of cut up bits of sprue and Tamiya extra thin. You can use that as a filler, and it's actually quite nice if you make a little bit more liquid in it. Whatever it is about the resin, it kind of like when you put it along a gap, it's like as if it sucks it into it. So it's quite nice indeed. So let's back onto the last bit of the chat here. They all should have got the MMG, not treated like dirt. That's for sure. Yeah, the MMG is the Military Medal for Gallantry, which is the highest award the Irish have. Not just a DSM. This DSM is a Distinguished Service Medal. You can get that for sort of shitting straight. Well, not really, but you know what I mean. But the MMG is definitely, they should definitely have got that. Andy Dixon, Jonathan, incredible bravery and leadership. It's a disgrace these brave men were given no recognition. Yes. What is your favourite tank in the Irish Army or vehicle? Well, there's a very, very interesting comment. The Irish Army is only a defence force. We have a very, very small army. Okay. The Irish Army, when you consider numbers wise, right? So you've got the Army, Navy, and the Air Corps would make up, I think they've about 12,000 in total. That's it. But look at the size of our island. We're only a little island. Nobody's going to invade us. We're not going to invade anybody else. We're not part of NATO. We only do UN service and sort of look after our own country. So that's why we have a nice small army. When it comes to tanks, we don't have any. Okay. We do have a couple of Scorpions, which when you think of it, I suppose you could call them a tank. But they use the Moag Piranha, and they've got the various different turrets and things, weapon systems for them. Totally modern, really, really modern. You know, we're just because we're a small army doesn't mean we're backward or anything like that. When you consider, like, our personal weapon is the Steyr AUG, which is considered one of the best weapons in the world, and more armies would use them only for the fact that their individual cost, the cost per unit, is actually quite high. So when if you've got a sort of a massive army, you're not going to kind of give them that kind of weaponage. It's cheaper to sort of, for the American Army, they produce their own. They produce the M16 or whatever version they use now, and the British Army with the SA-80 and that kind of thing. And, you know, the Germans, they've got the H&Ks. The Austrian Army used the Steyr, and the Austrian Police Force used the Steyr, and the Australians use it as well. But they use their ones are actually made under license in Australia, and they have a different name for them. We don't invade anyone because we've nowhere to put the prisoners. There you go. We could put them up in the Bog of Allen, I suppose. You know, put them to work. So Commander Wolfman is off. He's got to go. He'll see you in the next video. Night. Good night, and thanks for joining me. I'll be going myself in a minute or two. If you, Mr. P, if you could choose only 3 of all colours for your armour washes, what would they be? Very good, very good. I only kind of really use 3 colours for my washes, believe it or not. Yes. I use black, a dark brown, and a kind of a tan coloured. I used to use a kind of a grey wash as well at one stage, but I kind of hadn't used it for quite some time. I keep looking over here because I've gone more to using oil paints for making my washes, and I use, sort of, like I said, I use the black. That would be my tan color type wash, which is yellow ochre. Okay, and burnt sienna then for my dark brown. And I have used in the past, mixed a little bit of, oh, that's the burnt sienna. What's this one? Burnt umber, I beg your pardon. Not burnt sienna, burnt umber. It's dark. And if it's a little bit too dark, you can lighten it off with a bit of that. But yeah, they're the kind of colours I'd use for washes. That would be it. I use the oil paints. You can get quite a nice effect with them. And I like playing around with them, whereas you sort of give it a nice light wash, and with little stabs of the oil paint on, say, while it's still wet with the wash, use a toothpick or something and couple of dabs with darker colors in it, you know, here and there around it, and you can kind of swish it around them with a brush, with your wash brush, and you can get kind of nice effects when they dry out. So you're kind of playing around with them, so that's actually quite nice. Oh, Mr. Common Road Junction, Mr. My train guy, how are you? Yes, you are late, and I'll be heading away in a minute, so you'll have to go back and watch it when it comes out on the video. When it comes out on video, when it's I think it's about an hour after it comes up on the channel, so you'll have to kind of watch that. Yeah, I think it's the a lot of people get caught with the time difference. I go live at 9 p.m., but that's 9 p.m. my time. Okay, that's 9 p.m. here, and I know that it's sort of in America, it's sort of middle of the morning in some parts, and middle of the day in others. Because I remember we used to have a hangout, and Bob used to join us, and Bob was in New Orleans. No, it was in New Orleans. No, where was Bob? Yeah, he was in New Orleans, and it was a case of, it was sort of 10 in the morning or something, or 9 in the morning when we were sort of having our be night time here and sort of morning time there. So it was kind of we'd be there saying good night, and he was like, "Oh, right, I'm only just starting off." Trying to get into sort of things at that hour of the morning. It wasn't. Oh, you're only in England, right? You've no fucking excuse for it. So, Mr. Common Road Junction, come on, 9 o'clock at night on a Friday night. I'm always back on. Killian, no news at 9. So no, Killian, you have to stay away from the news at 9. See you next week. It's my first week watching Slán for now. No problem. Slán agus Gorov Mahagut. Opposite Ihawa agus Kolasov. I'm not going to translate it for the people that don't understand Irish. But Ihawa agus Kolasov is good night and sleep tight. That's it now. Okay, so we'll kind of stay away from our Arthur Marinelli. You were 5 hours ahead of us in East Coast, USA. East Coast? What's the East Coast? You're sort of New York, that's East Coast, isn't it? Yeah. It's just my stepson, he's living in the West Coast. He's up in Seattle. And I know that it's a case of we're going to bed and he's getting up. Ian's off. The dog needs a pee. Good night. I presume you need a pee as well. Exactly. I'm brewing something myself at the moment. I think I'll have to drop the kids off at the pool. But Slán, so anyway, it's 4 minutes to 10. I'm going to finish up because I'll only start babbling on, and you know me, when I start babbling on, I start getting kind of lost in myself and having a clue what I'm talking about. So anyway, lads, I'll see you all next week here on the live stream. Don't forget to stay tuned to the channel during the week. I'll have updates on the Stug. I'm going to do a bit of painting tomorrow night, and I'm going to kind of get the base color down. So that means tomorrow is Saturday. So that means Sunday night I'll be doing a one of my little quick snippet videos. So we can have a look and see how the pre-shading worked when I get sort of the main color out. Sometimes you can kind of go down over you. Just if the paint goes on that little bit heavy, that whole pre-shading goes out the window. And I want to kind of keep it in because I want it kind of I want it pretty weathered with the sort of fading kind of thing, because with the Stug I want to kind of sort of the Italian campaign where they kind of got in my mind anyway, they got kind of quite baked in the sun. So anyway, that's it. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you have, thanks, I really appreciate it. And don't forget to hit the bell. So go up and buy yourself a kit, lads. Build it and enjoy it. And I'm slowly turning into Santa Claus. And I'll keep the kids happy. So I'll see you next week, lads. Stay safe. Bye.